face check bushes, and make sure to pick cleanse on Rhaegar at level 7, or Kaldor will be tilted and rage at your co-caster.
I didn't rage at you. But actually, Kirsten also cleared that up. So it was indeed a misclick on the level 7. It looked a bit as if it was intentional because he, of course, tried to use the synergy between the level 1 and the level 16 talent. But there was supposed to be a cleanse on 7. I still have to question if a cleanse against the massive amount of CC that we're seeing here is enough to win them the game. But just to clear that up, they were intended to play that with a cleanse. But of course, against this many stuns and control spells, once you lose out on the cleanse, you are just not in a position where you can win this anymore. So just for the peace of mind for myself and for you guys out there, that was the intent, and I just want to make sure that you guys realize that before we head into our third map.
All that analysis comes down to, oops, it happens, man. Let's go ahead and get ready for Battleground number 3 here.
No, definitely not.
It's going to be Battlefield of Eternity. Fnatic with the choice, as Expert will continue to go with the first pick, and Fnatic, man, they are going to all of their premier Battlegrounds. They are wanting a 3-0 here, as they've been doing very well on BOE as of late.
Yeah, so we're going to see them on the third map now, and this is really the moment when I am the most curious about the draft that we are seeing for their opponent, because basically we've seen Expert try to be really aggressive, and it hasn't really worked out. I still doubt that the cleanse would have saved the second game, but I like the thought process behind their strategy so far, that they want to be aggressive in the team fights and they're just trying to bring the fight to Fnatic, so yeah, I enjoy that a lot.
That's the thing though, is like they're trying to be aggressive with odd compositions. The Cassia composition in game number 1 is easily controlled, and game number 2 not quite working out for them all the way, didn't get the tanks they wanted.
Yeah, but still, if you look at game 2, again, I really like the draft they had.
Sure.
If they get the cleanse here, they are stronger. The problem I have is their draft into Fnatic's draft. But the idea of having a Tyrael together with a Genji and an Illidan to really drive that momentum, having the Medivh to protect you as you're going in and setting up a fight with a Leyline Seal. I enjoy that a lot. I think if you go up against a team that has less CC and you have your cleanse to mitigate some of the CC spells they have, you can do fantastic there. So I'm enjoying that a lot. So I don't think the comp is too weird. It's just into what Fnatic drafted, I feel it's bound to fail. But I like the style that they're trying to use. Yeah, I'm really a huge fan of big team fights, of teams that play aggressive, and Expert is currently trying to do exactly that, so that's pretty cool to see.
Well, we'll see if any more aggression will come from Team Expert, as we are going to BOE, a bit more team fight centric for our teams, and being aggressive can sometimes not pay off if your opponents do defend themselves around the Immortal, and we're going to see the normal heroes picked up here, as Uther is grabbed for number 1 for Team Expert, and Fnatic gets Greymane and Genji. I'm
also happy to shout out that, as to actually let everybody know that we have unraveled the mystery. Genji indeed is Italian. There is proof now on Twitter. I retweeted the tweet earlier, so if you want to see proof that Genji was adopted by a Japanese crime family, but he is Italian by heritage and has indeed a mustache. You can check that out over there. So we have him together with a Greymane, and Uther again with that flexibility. But I want to also point out the Tacita ban. A bit of a soft ban against a potential Tracer composition that we could see from Team Expert on this map, so I like that Fnatic reacts to this.
You can't just snowball into the analysis.
Yeah, I can.
It's all like legit.
Yes.
You can't just do that.
And you have to now come back to my last point. You can't talk about Genji anymore.
Very important moment. While we're on the HGC, we try our best to teach you about the video games, and you guys can listen to Hero League as much as you want. The internet is still a scary place. Don't listen to ramblers that might just give you incorrect information at all times and believe it. Be yourself. Go Google more information. Don't sit in the little box on the internet and learn more, because people like Kaldor will take that opportunity and lie to you and try to retweet things that are clearly photoshopped.
Are you disputing my alternative facts?
I will draw a painting later to show that he is actually
in good American tradition. I'm presenting alternative facts and you're shutting them down. No, but I can only agree with what he just said. So guys, get out there, Google, and question what you read on the internet. That's a good advice to give.
Life lessons.
Life lessons learned on HGC. So with those life lessons, we're also going to start focus a bit more on what's happening in the draft. And right now, again, we have a big ban here against Oriel. So it's all about the double support trying to shut that down from Fnatic's point of view.
And Team Expert is muscling their way through this. Yeah. Look at Sonya Murden here on the right side.
Yeah, so there's two things here. First of all, the soft ban against Tracer, and then the Oriel ban, trying to deny the strong double support that could come out of an Uther and Oriel combo. But then, as you said, really beefy start. On the second and third pick, this high in priority, a Muradin and a Sonya. And then banning out the Stitchers as well. So really targeting tanks for now. Muradin is pretty strong and can also, of course, start with that initial stun. There's a lot of stuns available, especially... have they played with Wrath of the Berserker?
No, they've been playing
Because
Leap. Every time we've
Leap,
seen
yeah,
Sonya,
the
it's been
entire
Leap.
time, right?
Yeah.
So we already have 3 stuns available after the first 3 picks. Uther, Sonya with a Leap, and Muradin with a stun as well. And Fnatic is looking... I would even think, could Fnatic theoretically pick up a Medivh? I guess not anymore. You have Greymane and Genji taken, so that's normally split between Quacknix and Shrimpy. But they will need someone who can just get the cleanse and make sure that once that CC chain is stacked against the target, that they can somehow save it.
Zarya?
I don't think he. But I'm questioning now which tank do you, or which support do you use in that sense? Are you going for Karazim? Yeah, okay, Karazim, I like that. And Ethereal on top of that too. Trying to be a bit more aggressive with it and also having the Sanct available to them. But there's a lot of CCs for Expert now. Yeah,
the Sanct timing, while Sanct is a good saving grace here, it's still very difficult to just pull it off at will and make sure to land it at pivotal moments. If you are too early, you have the punish coming in from Sonya anyways, and if you're too late, your team is dead. So Tyrael will have to be played on point. Granted, it's going to be Breeze. Breeze is one of these heroes that's one of the best tanks in Europe for the moment, but still, if Team Expert wants to go for the hardcore stuns, they can still deliver here. That Tyrael, while scary and a good response, is not the end of the world yet.
I would expect another frontliner on top of that. I mean, we still need a hero for Wooby. We have Dehaka still around, which is actually interesting since Dehaka...
What about a Zeratul with VP?
Could be.
Then you just stop the... If you mess up the type of layover stuns that try to come in from there, that's where you can get your victories.
They already played it once. Dehaka is usually pricked quite early here. Zarya taken from Expert, so having the additional shield now. Super heavy melee focus on their end. I wonder if they go into a Leoric actually against us. Just so that you have more value out of your Drain Hope and a Paralyzing Rage. But normally I would have said...
Are you beefy enough though for Cassia and Zarya?
That's a concern. Normally I would have said you go into Dehaka before that last double pick happened. Because Dehaka is usually so highly prioritized since you're trying to get to level 10 a bit faster than your opponent around the second Immortal phase. And that side soak is absolutely invaluable if you try to accomplish that. But beefiness is definitely a big issue. Leoric is great with the percentage damage if you have this many targets up at the front, and his Paralyzing Rage talent on level 13 gives you a lot of control with the slows. But let's see how Fnatic approaches this. They definitely need someone else at the front line.
Someone on the front line. I'm trying to think of area abilities, area effect abilities that can help out with Cassia in terms of running her down. Okay, well, there's Arthas. He's beefy enough. What, can you kill Cassia though here? You have the Cursed Bullet. Will Genji be able to bring out enough with the Dragon Blade? With Zarya shields and Uther? Team Expert looks very durable.
I didn't even have Athos on my radar here. Yeah, the question is... Greymane should get an insane amount of poke damage in here.
Yeah, he'll get poke damage. Uther, over time, will get his mana depleted here. I think I like this draft the best, though, for Expert, for them to have a chance to get a win here. I actually like the idea of them grouping consistently here, having Zarya shield set up and Cassie just poking away.
Yeah, I actually think that, I mean, this is really rough to kill.
Yeah.
I like what Expert is doing here. This is definitely a draft where for Fnatic it could get rough.
Yeah, there's a lot of armor on the opposing side.
Yeah.
So Cursed Bullet will come out, but Murder can jump out, come back in with this trait procking up here. They can just completely dance around the Immortals consistently, keep that Immortal near them, land a Stormbolt, maybe a stun for the Immortal comes out, and they can start to take the team fight and keep moving forward. This is a scary draft for Expert, man, and Zarya being brought back in, and this is a great point for Horde to actually be here.
It's also a very fun draft.
It's a very fun draft.
So that's definitely breaking the norm that we oftentimes have here. So yeah, I'm ready. Let's get in.
You can't yet. We have to wait for our players to be ready before we can go.
I don't care. Yeah, we can though. They're in the game.
I got the call.
Let's go.
They're ready.
He got the call. So we are ready to go, guys. We're jumping into game number 3. Great draft here for Team Expert. Can Fnatic beat it? That's the question.
That is the question. On the left side, in the blue, Fnatic here with a 2-0 already. They've already earned a couple of wins. Nick will be playing Cassia for the opposing team, but Breeze will be playing Tyrael. Quacknix on Greymane, Shrimpy on Genji, Smexy on Karazim, and Wubby will be playing Arthas.
Whoopi on the Arthurs, and to the right side of the map, it's the Experts. Team Expert with Nick on Cassia, Bad Benny on Muradin, Ethereal Angel on Sonya, Curson on Uther, and ADRD is playing Zarya.
All right, so here we go into BOE. Sonya will be the one to constantly peel off the side here, and one of the great things about this Comp 4 Team Expert is if they group up around the Immortal as a unit of 4 with that Zarya, Sonya can peel off and start working on the Immortal. It did pretty decent damage. Fnatic on the other side here would love to give experience lead somehow, getting some picks, bringing down turrets, and they have started to do so in the top lane.
As we see the race here unfolding, I have a question for our viewers, and I would love if you could give us a few answers and ideas that you have on the hashtag HGC. You can write those tweets to @HeroesEsports. What does ADRD actually stand for? He is a mad scientist, we all know that, but is that an acronym? And if it was an acronym, what does it actually stand for? So guys, if you have ideas on that matter, then send out a tweet @HeroesEsports, hashtag HGC, and let us know. And we'll find out if you have some cool ideas for that.
Do you know the actual answer?
I have absolutely no clue.
Because I do.
Do you do?
Yeah.
You know more than me. I have no idea, and I don't want to be spoiled. Okay,
don't wanna hear it?
go.
A driven radical dude. It fits, and it's perfect.
Well, yeah.
You're welcome for the knowledge bombs.
Okay, if you have a better perception of what ADRD means, you're welcome to let us know, as we had an exchange in Fortsea. Nothing too crazy happening just yet, just both of the teams deciding to open the map up early, and it was a 5-man push on both lanes, so there was a bit of a split, and now we have the map open. Both of the teams lost a fort. They let the Fountain stand at the bot lane. I think find that a bit weird, but that should fall quickly enough. For now, it's all about the next Immortal spawning, and both of the teams should hit their level 4 by that, just because we saw that early focus on the structures.
That Fountain being there is actually, might be a big deal. We'll see how that goes, the minions, if they clean it up or not. But here we go, Team Expert versus Fnatic over the Immortal phase, and Team Expert has positioned around their Immortal. They'll go ahead and anchor up here and be in a good spot for defense. And Fnatic is tiptoeing around. They know the threat of this team here, especially in the early game, with Zarya, in particular, picking Feel the Heat.
Yeah, Feel the Heat is also going to be great for them, just to push that damage out. But I'm really just interested to see what happens here after level 10, how Fnatic is going to approach these fights. For now, we have a lot of dancing happening here, and Fnatic being more so on the defense as we see Team Expert starting to push in against the Immortal.
Green's harassing as well. The Immortal starts to do damage here as Nick steps forward. The Immortal suddenly coming out. They will back up. Greymane is on the opposing Immortal for the moment, so we're seeing Fnatic come back in the fight over here on their opponents for the Immortal race.
So with level 4 talents now, we're having also on Greymane continuing the cocktail build, as you would have expected. And also Cassia. For Cassia, it's pretty standard. I mean, we haven't seen her as much in Europe anymore as before, but the charge strike into the Ring of Leech is pretty much the norm when you see her in the game. Ring of Leech giving her, of course, a massive amount of self-sustain here then, especially with the Fend damage. But Muradin deciding to go into the block here over the potential Storm Bolts. But we have seen it actually a lot, him going for the Storm Bolt focus and trying to add extra burst to any kind of lockdown. But their massive melee composition here is doing quite well thus far.
Coming out so well. Immortals hitting halftime. Both teams pretty similar in experience. Fnatic has a slight lead so far. Halftime show will connect, as it looks like Team Expert is losing out on the Immortal race.
Arthur should actually get a really sick amount of value later on in the game against what Expert has here. If he just keeps stacking into the Frozen Waste here, he should get so much. But for now, we're seeing Expert starting to get more control over the Immortal. They have Sonya currently on the Immortal of Fnatic, and Fnatic is desperately trying to really push in and make something happen here, with Smexy threatening ADRD. So Zarya moving back, Smexy himself dashing out, nearly getting into the stun circle of the Immortal. But Fnatic just can't break through here properly.
Yeah, it's going to be harder too. ADRD steps forward here, and with the shields being back up, Sonya will buy the time to work on the Immortal on the right side, and everyone has made the decision to go ahead and go full all out on the race. And we're going to have Team Expert taking the first Immortal. Muradin, however, does get picked off, so Fnatic should have an easier defense.
Yeah, so at this point, level 6 for Fnatic, slightly ahead, but as you said, the Immortal won by Team Expert, so right now Fnatic needs to defend, and this should actually give Expert a lead in experience here. Immortal, of course, focusing up at the top lane, but Expert is also not really willing to commit to anything here. They had all to move back and to grab mana, so that gives Fnatic a lot of time where they can just simply focus this down.
Okay, so it gets burned down. I'm looking at Team Expert. What are they doing here? They put some pressure on the bottom. Zarya and Sonya in particular working on that fort. Actually, they actually killed the fort, so they got the well. Good for them, man. Keeping up with the experience, moving towards 7 as well. And it's going to come down to that small dabbling where our teams dance around and work on the mercenary camps. Fnatic is going to continue to tiptoe, as they should.
Yeah, 7 is a bit faster for them right now. So they start picking up their talents here, and that completes the cocktail build more or less. Also, the Icebound Fortitude for Arthas is going to help a lot in the later on fights. Lightning Speed for Karazim. See later when we hit the level 16 to go into the cleanse here against the stun output that we are having for Team Expert. Cleansing Touch would be a great pickup for him here if they feel they don't need the extra damage.
Big Howling Blast connecting there. Expert's going to be retreating. ADRD's shield will expire, so Breeze will take the opportunity to jump in with Schwimpy. They're trying to burn down the Zarya as quickly as possible. And this has become actually pretty normal against Zarya. There was a time where we had Zarya consistently being picked up very often in Phase 1. The team's got much better at exploiting her shields. The moment they expire, put some pressure on her. She is actually much weaker than you would think.
I really like also the poke that we're having currently on the side of Fnatic. I think they need to do that. They need to poke them down slowly. And if they can stop them moving in, as Mubi just did with a Howling Blast, that's great. The 10 is really what it comes down to for me, because I expect that we won't once again see lead from Sonya, as Aethero has done every single time he played Sonya for Team Expert. Then you have additional stuns on Uther. So it's going to be quite easy for them to force these fights. And then how is Fnatic going to play around this? Because poking only gets you so far. Greymane gets a few good cocktails in against this mass melee comp that is supposed to be pretty clunky and stick together. Then they might get them low enough so that they can take the fight. But this is, I'm loving this. It's a really cool dynamic that we have. I want to see how Expert does in the mid game and how Fnatic deals with that situation and that threat.
Well, mid-game will be coming soon, but now it's all about the Immortals, and Team Expert will start the race here. That's where we're going to see the full power of their race. They're actually taking the stun so they can get a little bit more energy there on Zarya, but we will have a lead here for Fnatic as they are winning by 1.8k.
Yeah, Fnatic has Greymane, and that is a massive advantage. They even fought that 4 versus 5 on the Immortal because Arthas was still at the bot lane. But having Greymane in your setup is just absolutely fantastic when we are talking about Immortal pressure.
Breeze taking poke here. ADRD comes on the side. Breeze is low, but he's able to get out without Druid. Welby comes in with the Howling Blast and will slow down the advance of Expert. With Tyrael not being here, though.
It's also it's so easy for Greymane to stack against this. He has 12 stacks already. So he's nearly completed on his Flash talent on level 7. Super easy for him to make that work. And by now we have him on 13, just getting another one. With everyone clumped up from Expert because they need that approach and that heavy engage, he can easily get that done. So we're going to see that soon. And we have a quick pause here. I'm happy that it's actually before the fight starts, so that's important. But the halftime show has hit. We have the teams both on level 8, nearly level 9, so level 10s are not really a big issue just yet. But yeah, it's I really want to see these level 10 fights. I want to see how exactly Expert plays that, and that's going to be so much lockdown on their end. So Fnatic, can they break through that?
Is it going to be a situation where we pick up the Curse Bullet or go with the throw? I think Curse Bullet's the way to do it. You want to get Murden out of your face so you can make the movement forward to actually get onto the main juice of this composition, which is, of course, that Cassia. And I think I agree with you. Later game, 13-16, when we have the Wubby Golem online with the Arthas, having your Remorseless Winter and such, he'll get a ton of value in, but can they get to 16 well?
That's the point. I think 16 would be great for them because Arthas is going to become so much more impactful against this. But also, if there's going to be the leap, as we expected, and we see a problem with a lot of stuns, then of course Karazim is going to try and go for the Cleansing Touch on 16 instead of focusing on damage instead. And once that happens, I think they are in a much better spot to really play around the opponent. But it's going to be really cool to just see this. And also I want to see how does Expert deal with Greymane, because right now, the longer they wait until a fight starts, the more poke value Greymane gets. And once he completes his level 7 talent, the damage output is just going to be ridiculous against this composition. So Expert has to really force the fight before they get poked too low so they can't engage anymore. And that's one of the problems that they have a bit with this comp. They're so melee focused that they need to heavily engage into it, and this is where especially Sonya comes into play.
Yeah, the leap coming on at level 10. Well, we'll see how Expert intends to force the fights against Fnatic when we come back. We got a little technical issue. We'll be right back.
The swarm is eternal. We evolve. We conquer. We will consume all within the Nexus. Your villains, your heroes will all become part of my brood. Okay, fine. You two. You will try to resist, but it is only a matter of time, for the swarm is eternal. I once ruled Nerub. Then came a war I could not win. I was forced into servitude. But here, in this strange place, no one commands my power! I will conquer the Nexus! Those who oppose me shall embrace the web of death. I am a Nubarak. I ruled once before. I shall rule again.
Stitches was shame. Stitches want playtime. Stitches played too rough. No one play with Stitches. But Stitches found Nexus. In Nexus, everyone has to play with Stitches. So much playtime makes Stitches hungry.
And we're back, and apparently our players are ready to go as well, so let's go ahead and jump straight back into the match here as Fnatic is taking on Expert.